Help me hit 7,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. I've never been the kind of guy who panics when someone doesn't text back. I've always believed people get busy, phones die, life happens. But that night, something felt wrong the moment the hours started stretching longer than they should have. My name is Aiden. I'm 33, and for the past 2 years I've been with someone who could light up a room just by walking into it. Marley. Soft voice, bright eyes, the kind of girl who laughs with her whole face. She never liked leaving people in the dark. If she was running late, she'd send a quick 1 second. If she couldn't talk, she'd send a heart emoji just so I wouldn't think she was ignoring me. That's why the silence felt different. Started around 6 p.m. I sent something stupid, just a picture of my dinner. Some joke about how I'd managed not to burn it. Something she'd normally reply to with a teasing, "I'm proud of you, Chef Aiden." No reply. I brushed it off at first. She said she had a work meeting earlier that afternoon. Maybe it ran late. Maybe she was tired. Maybe she was showering. I told myself a dozen explanations, all reasonable, all simple. But as the clock crept toward 9 p.m., then 10 p.m., I felt my chest tightening the way it only does when your mind starts filling in the blanks with the worst-case scenarios. I sent another message. Then another. Nothing dramatic, nothing desperate. Just small things. "Everything okay? Let me know when you get home. Just checking in." 10 messages over the course of 7 hours. Not rapid fire. Not obsessive. Just a man trying to reach the person he loves in a night that felt unusually long. Still nothing. By midnight, my mind wasn't calm anymore. I wasn't imagining her cheating. I was imagining her stranded, crying, hurt somewhere with no way to call for help. Marley wasn't careless. She wasn't the type to disappear. Her silence felt unnatural, like someone had taken her phone away or like she couldn't reach it even if she tried. I kept telling myself not to overthink, but the truth is, when you care about someone deeply, silence becomes its own kind of noise. I went to bed around 1 a.m., not because I was tired, but because anxiety has a way of draining your body even when your mind refuses to rest. I lay there staring at the ceiling, the room dim except for the faint glow of my phone screen on the nightstand. Every vibration, every tiny buzz from the street outside made me jolt upright, hoping, praying. It was her. It wasn't. Not until 2:03 a.m. The phone lit up, and her name appeared across the screen like a breath I'd been holding all night. "Marley, sorry." Just one word. One tiny apology dropped into the middle of hours of silence. And something inside me cracked. Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, like a small part of my trust shifted just enough to make me uneasy. I stared at the message for a long moment, waiting for more. An explanation, a reason, anything. She always had more to say, but nothing followed, not for a minute, not for 2. Just that single word. When I finally wrote back, I didn't ask why she vanished or where she'd been. I simply typed, "Are you okay?" A minute passed. 2, 5, nothing. Just when I started to think she might actually be done talking for the night, my screen blinked again. "Marley, I'll explain tomorrow." Just that. Not what happened. Not where she was. Not whether she was safe. Just a vague promise that tomorrow would somehow clear up tonight. And for the first time since I'd known her, her message didn't comfort me. It made my stomach twist. Because people who want you to understand, explain. People who have nothing to hide, don't delay the truth. I lay awake for another hour, replaying every moment from the last few weeks. She had been a little distant, a little tired, a little less present. I didn't want to admit it, but all those little things suddenly looked bigger under the dim light of her vague apology. There was a time when I would have accepted her explanation without thinking twice. But something about the timing, her silence paired with that single word at 2 a.m., felt less like exhaustion and more like guilt trying to keep itself small. I didn't sleep much that night. When the sun came up, all I knew was this. Whatever she was planning to explain the next day, I wasn't sure I wanted to hear it. Morning came slowly, the kind of morning where the sunlight feels too bright for the weight sitting in your chest. I kept checking my phone even though I knew she wouldn't text until she was ready. Marley always kept her word. At least she used to. If she said she'd explain tomorrow, she'd wait until tomorrow no matter how much I wanted answers now. Around 10 a.m., my phone buzzed. Marley, can we meet? Coffee shop near your place. Short, polite, controlled. Not warm, not affectionate, not even familiar. Just distant. I told her I'd be there. The walk to the cafe felt longer than it should have. My steps heavy with every possible version of the truth she might deliver. Maybe she lost her phone. Maybe she got sick. Maybe something happened with her family. Maybe she was overwhelmed. All innocent possibilities. But none of them explained 2 a.m. None of them explained sorry. None of them explained the silence that didn't sound like worry. It sounded like avoidance. When I arrived, she was already there, sitting by the window with a cup of tea she hadn't touched. She looked tired, eyes swollen, fingers tapping anxiously on the mug. But she didn't look devastated or chaotic. She looked like someone rehearsing a difficult truth. "Hey," she said softly when I sat down. "Morning." My voice sounded calmer than I felt. "Are you okay?" She nodded too quickly, like she wanted to get that part out of the way. "Yeah, I'm okay. I'm really sorry about last night." "That's fine," I said. "Just tell me what happened." She swallowed hard, her eyes dropping to her hands. "I wasn't ignoring you. I waited." She didn't continue. "And?" I asked. "I just needed space. Yesterday was a lot for me." "What happened yesterday?" Another pause. Another deep breath. Then, I went out. Something cold slid down my spine. Not because going out was wrong, but because she wasn't the kind of person who hid it. "With who?" I asked. "My coworkers." Her throat tightened as she said it. "It wasn't planned. They asked last minute after work. And I didn't think you'd mind." "I wouldn't have," I said. "You could have just told me." She nodded again, but her nod looked like guilt, not agreement. I know I should have. I just didn't want to have a conversation about it." That hit me in a way I didn't expect. Not because she went out, but because she didn't want to talk to me. Because she didn't think of me as someone she could be open with. Because she didn't see me as part of her night, her stress, or her decisions. "So why no reply?" I asked quietly. She looked away. "I put my phone in my bag and forgot about it." I didn't react. I didn't need to. She heard the disbelief in my silence. "Okay," she said, her voice shaking slightly. "I didn't forget about it. I saw your messages. I just didn't know how to answer." "Why?" Her eyes glimmered, not with tears, but with the discomfort of someone who'd backed themselves into a corner. "Because I knew you'd worry. And I didn't want to explain, because I knew I shouldn't have gone." "Shouldn't have gone," I repeated. "Why not?" Another pause, another breath, another attempt to soften something that couldn't be softened. "There was a guy there," she finally said. "A new hire. We talked for a while. It wasn't flirting before you think that. It wasn't like that. I just liked the conversation, and I felt guilty for liking it." The words didn't hit like cheating. They hit like something quieter, but in a way worse. She wasn't unfaithful. But she was lonely in a way she didn't tell me about. Lonely enough that someone else's attention felt like relief. Lonely enough that she didn't want me to know she found it somewhere else. I leaned back, letting her words settle. "You could have told me you were feeling off. You could have told me you needed space. You could have told me anything." "I know," she whispered. "I just didn't want to hurt you. And instead you disappeared at 2 a.m. and sent one word." She closed her eyes, pain flickering across her face. "I'm really sorry. The thing is, I believed her. She wasn't lying. She wasn't cheating. She wasn't hiding some dramatic secret. She was just drifting, quietly, slowly, the way people do when they don't realize distance is becoming a habit." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't guilt-trip her. I didn't ask why she needed someone else to feel heard. I simply sat there and felt something I didn't expect. Clarity. "You know I care about you, right?" I said softly, She nodded, eyes glassy. And I want you to be happy. But if you ever feel like you can talk to someone new easier than you can talk to me, we have a bigger problem than last night. Her lip trembled, and she looked like she might break. I don't want to lose you, Aiden. I don't want to lose you either, I said. But I'm not trying to be your second choice for connection. Silence stretched between us. Not angry, not sharp, just honest. She reached for my hand, but I didn't move mine. Not out of punishment, just because something inside me was still settling. I need you to decide, I said gently. Do you want to fix this with me? Or is part of you already looking somewhere else for something I'm trying to give you? Her tears finally spilled, quiet and slow. I want you, she whispered. I just forgot how to show it. Maybe she did. Maybe she meant it. But one thing was certain. When someone sends, sorry, at 2 a.m., there's always more to the story. And sometimes the explanation isn't betrayal. It's distance you didn't notice growing until it finally touched you. That morning didn't end with a breakup or a dramatic fight. It ended with honesty, the kind that feels heavy, but necessary. Because love doesn't fall apart overnight. It fades quietly, message by message, silence by silence, until one day you're staring at a single word at 2 a.m., wondering when the person you love started slipping away.